It started with a text message. Not a long one, not dramatic, not even emotional. Just 8 words that quietly shattered everything I thought I knew. I had a date last night. It was nice. I stared at my phone for a long time after reading that. The words didn't move. They didn't change. They didn't explain themselves further. They just sat there, cold, simple, and devastating. And the worst part, this wasn't just anyone. This was Emily, the woman who had once looked me in the eyes and said, "I've never felt this safe with anyone before." The woman who used to fall asleep on my chest, tracing lazy circles on my arm like she never wanted the moment to end. The woman who promised, no, insisted that what we had was different. And now, she had a date. I didn't reply right away. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I had too much. My mind was racing through memories, through late-night conversations, through all the times she told me I was the only one she wanted. I leaned back against the couch, exhaling slowly, trying to keep myself together. Because here's the truth nobody tells you about moments like this. It's not the message that breaks you. It's everything behind it. Every memory suddenly feels like a lie. Every "I miss you" feels rehearsed. Every "I love you" starts sounding like a script she's used before and will use again. But I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was calm. And that scared me more than anything. Because when you're calm in a moment that should destroy you, it means something inside you already knew this was coming. I picked up my phone again. Read the message one more time. I had a date last night. It was nice. Nice. That word echoed in my head like a quiet insult. Nice. Like everything we had was just replaceable. Like all those nights, we stayed up talking until sunrise were just practice for someone else. Like I was just a chapter she had already decided to close. I typed a reply. Then deleted it. Typed again. Deleted again. Because no matter what I wrote, it either sounded too desperate or too angry. And I refused to be either. Not this time. Not with her. Because Emily wasn't just someone who hurt you once. She was someone who slowly, carefully, beautifully made you believe she never would. And that kind of betrayal, it cuts differently. I stood up, pacing my apartment, my thoughts spinning. How long had this been going on? Was this her first date? Or just the first one she admitted? Had she been talking to him while she was still telling me she loved me? While she was still kissing me like I was her future? The questions came one after another, each one sharper than the last. But then, something shifted. A memory. Clear, sharp, unavoidable. It was 2 weeks ago. We were sitting in her car outside my place. It was late, the kind of late where the world feels quiet and honest. She looked at me and said, "Promise me something." I smiled. What? No matter what happens, don't ever lie to me. I laughed softly. I won't, you know that. She nodded, her eyes soft. Good, because I'd rather hear something painful than be lied to. And now, here we were. I sat back down, my grip tightening around my phone. She didn't lie. She told me. She told me she went on a date. And somehow, that made it worse. Because this wasn't betrayal in the dark. This was betrayal in the light. Confident, casual, almost careless. Like she expected me to just accept it. Like I was supposed to understand. And that's when I realized something. This wasn't just about her going on a date. This was about how little she thought it would affect me. That's what hurt. Not the guy. Not the date. But the fact that she believed I would just take it. I opened our chat again. Scrolled up. Months of messages. Good mornings. Good nights. I miss you. I can't wait to see you. You make me so happy. And now, I had a date last night. It was nice. It almost felt insulting. Like she downgraded everything we had into something disposable. I finally started typing again. This time, I didn't stop. But before I hit send, I paused. Because I knew something. Whatever I said next would define everything. Not just how she saw me, but how I saw myself. I could beg, ask questions, demand explanations. Or I could do something else. Something she wouldn't expect. Something that would hit deeper than anger ever could. I looked at her message one last time. Then I remembered something else. Every time she hurt me in the past, even in small ways, I let it slide. Every time she pulled away, I chased. Every time she gave less, I gave more. And maybe, just maybe, that's why she felt comfortable enough to send that message. Because in her mind, I was the guy who would always stay. No matter what. I closed my eyes for a moment. And in that silence, I made a decision. Not about her, but about me. I wasn't going to be that guy anymore. Not today. Not ever again. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. And then, I typed one line. Just one. No anger. No insults. No desperation. Just truth. The kind of truth that doesn't shout, but lingers. The kind of truth that doesn't break immediately, but slowly sinks in until it becomes impossible to ignore. I read it once, twice, and for the first time since I got her message, I felt something different. Not pain, not anger, but control. I hit send, and just like that, everything changed. The 3 dots appeared almost instantly. She was typing. Of course she was. Because she didn't expect that. She didn't expect me to respond like this. She didn't expect me to not react the way I always did. The typing stopped. Then started again. Then stopped. I could almost picture her. Staring at her screen. Confused. Maybe even shaken. Good. For once, she didn't know what to say. Minutes passed. Then my phone buzzed. Her reply. Longer this time. Much longer. But I didn't open it right away. Because I already knew something. Whatever she wrote didn't matter as much as what I already said. Because for the first time, I wasn't trying to fix things. I wasn't trying to understand her. I wasn't trying to hold on. I was letting go. And the strange thing about letting go is that it doesn't always feel like loss. Sometimes, it feels like finally putting down something heavy you didn't realize you were carrying. I finally opened her message. And as I read the first line, I smiled. Not because it was funny. Not because it was satisfying. But because it confirmed everything. She didn't expect me to walk away. And now, she was the one trying to explain. Trying to justify. Trying to hold on. Funny how that works. The moment you stop chasing is the moment they start running after you. But this time, I wasn't moving. Not an inch. Because she made her choice. And now, I had made mine. But what she didn't know yet, what she couldn't possibly understand in that moment, was that the one line I sent her wasn't just a reply. It was a mirror. And for the first time, she was finally seeing herself clearly. And it was breaking her. Slowly. Silently. Completely. And the story, it was only just beginning. Her message was long. Too long. The kind of message people write when they're not just explaining something, but trying to control how it's understood. I leaned back, staring at the screen, letting my eyes move slowly over every word she sent. It wasn't like that. That's how she started. Of course it was. They always start like that. It just kind of happened. I didn't think it would matter this much. I thought we were in a complicated place. Complicated. Another word that felt like a quiet excuse wrapped in soft language. I exhaled slowly, my jaw tightening as I kept reading. I didn't plan it. He asked me out, and I said yes because I didn't know where we stood anymore. That line. That one line. That was her attempt to shift it. To make it feel mutual. To make it seem like my silence, my patience, my trust somehow created the space for her to step out. I almost smiled. Because that was her pattern. never fully taking responsibility. Always leaving just enough room to suggest it wasn't entirely her fault. I put my phone down for a second, rubbing my face. Not out of stress, but out of clarity. Because now I saw it. Clearly. Completely. This wasn't about one date. This wasn't about one mistake. This was who she was. And maybe this was who she had always been. I picked up my phone again and continued reading. I didn't even think I'd tell you, but you said you value honesty. That part almost made me laugh. Honesty. As if honesty after betrayal somehow balances the scale. As if telling the truth after doing something wrong makes it right. No. It doesn't. It just means you chose to hurt someone openly instead of secretly. And somehow, that almost feels worse. Because now there's no doubt. No confusion. No maybe. Just truth. Raw and undeniable. I still care about you. There it was. The soft landing. The emotional cushion she placed at the end of her message. The part designed to keep me from walking away completely. To keep a door open. Just in case. Just in case her date didn't turn into something more. Just in case she needed me again. I stared at that sentence for a long time. I still care about you. Not I love you. Not anymore. Just care. Such a small word. But somehow, it carried the weight of everything she had already taken back. I locked my phone and set it on the table. The room was quiet again. But this time, it felt different. Because something inside me had shifted completely. Before, I was reacting. Now, I was observing. I wasn't in the storm anymore. I was standing outside of it, watching it for what it really was. And what it was simple. She didn't choose me. Not fully. Not completely. And love, real love, doesn't hesitate like that. It doesn't explore options. It doesn't test alternatives. It doesn't go on dates with someone else while holding your hand. It chooses. Every single day. Without confusion. Without doubt. Without complicated. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the quiet street below. Cars passed by. People moved on with their lives. And for the first time, I felt like I was about to do the same. But then my phone buzzed again. Another message. From her. I didn't even need to look to know it was. Because when someone feels you slipping away, they don't stop at one message. They keep going. Trying to fix. Trying to pull you back. Trying to regain control. I unlocked my phone. Her second message was shorter. More direct. Why aren't you saying anything? I smiled slightly. Because that question said everything. She wasn't used to this version of me. The quiet one. The one who doesn't chase. The one who doesn't immediately respond. The one who doesn't try to fix what she broke. She was used to the version of me that would already be calling her. Asking questions. Trying to understand. Trying to make it work. But that version was gone. And she could feel it. I let a few minutes pass. Then 10. Then 20. I wasn't playing games. I was just done rushing. Done reacting. Done giving her immediate access to my attention like it was something she could take for granted. Finally, I opened the chat. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. And again, I kept it simple. Because I had learned something. The less you say, the more it hits. I did say something. That was it. I sent it. Almost immediately. The typing dots appeared again. Faster this time. More urgent. What does that even mean? Another message followed before I could even process the first. Are you seriously just going to act like this doesn't matter? I leaned against the wall, reading her words carefully. There it was. The shift. From explanation to frustration. Because now she wasn't just trying to explain herself. She was trying to pull a reaction out of me. Any reaction. Anger. Jealousy. Pain. Anything that proved I still cared enough to fight. But I wasn't going to give her that. Not anymore. Because I finally understood something most people learn too late. Not every situation needs a reaction. Sometimes, silence is the loudest answer you can give. And right now, my silence was saying everything. It was telling her, I see you. I understand you. And I'm choosing to walk away anyway. Her messages kept coming. You're being cold. I didn't expect this from you. That's it after everything. I read each one without responding. Because every message she sent was no longer pulling me in. It was pushing me further away. And I think, deep down, she knew that. Because her next message changed again. The tone softened. The words slowed down. I didn't mean to hurt you. There it was. Regret. Or at least, something that looked like it. But even that felt different now. Because regret after action doesn't erase the action. It just acknowledges it. And I wasn't looking for acknowledgement. I was looking for alignment. For consistency. For something real. And she had already shown me that she couldn't give that. I finally typed again. Not out of emotion, but out of closure. You didn't just hurt me, you showed me who you are. I stared at the message for a second. Then sent it. No hesitation. No second guessing. And this time, the typing dots didn't appear right away. Seconds passed. Then a minute. Then 2. And for the first time since this started, she was quiet. Because that line, it didn't attack her. It didn't accuse her. It didn't insult her. It did something worse. It held up a mirror. And people don't know how to respond to that. Not immediately. Not easily. Because deep down, they recognize the truth in it. And truth is hard to argue with. Finally, the typing dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. I could almost feel her struggling to find the right words. But there were none. Because there's no perfect response to being seen clearly. Not when you were hoping to stay misunderstood. Her final message came through. I think you're overreacting. I let out a quiet laugh. Not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. When people can't deny what they did, they minimize how it affected you. They make you feel like you're the problem. Like your reaction is too much. Too emotional. Too extreme. But this time, it didn't work. Because I wasn't reacting. I was responding. And there's a difference. A big one. I typed one last message. Slowly. Carefully. Making sure every word carried exactly what I meant. No, I'm finally reacting the right way. I sent it. And then, I put my phone down. Face down. Silent. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something I hadn't felt with her in months. Peace. Not the loud kind. Not the exciting kind. But the quiet kind. The kind that comes when you stop fighting for something that was already slipping away. The kind that comes when you choose yourself. Even when it hurts. I walked back to the window, looking out again. But this time, everything looked different. Not because the world had changed, but because I had. And somewhere, on the other side of that silence, she was sitting there, staring at her phone, reading my words over and over again, trying to understand how the person she thought she had was suddenly gone. But the truth was, I didn't disappear. I just stopped accepting less than I deserved. And for her, that felt like losing me. But for me, it felt like finally finding myself. And this time, there was no going back. The silence after my last message stretched longer than anything we had ever shared. No good morning. No random, I miss you. No late night, are you awake? Just nothing. And somehow, that nothing said more than all our conversations combined. Days passed. Not dramatic days. Not painful, dragging ones like before. Just quiet, steady days. The kind where you wake up, check your phone out of habit, and then slowly start realizing you're not expecting anything anymore. That's when you know it's real. That's when you know something has truly ended. But endings don't always feel like explosions. Sometimes, they feel like a slow fade. And I was finally okay with that. Until her name lit up my screen again. Saturday night, 10:47 p.m. Of course it was. Because nights are dangerous like that. They make people feel things they ignore during the day. They make loneliness louder, regret sharper, and memories harder to escape. I stared at her name for a few seconds. Emily. It still felt familiar, but no longer important. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times. Then I answered. Not because I needed to, but because I wanted to see something. Hello. Her voice was different. Softer. Careful. Like she was stepping into a room she wasn't sure she was welcome in anymore. Hey. There was a pause. The kind filled with everything unsaid. I didn't think you'd pick up. I leaned back in my chair, calm. I wasn't sure if I would. Another pause. Longer this time. I've been thinking about you. Of course she had. Not because she suddenly realized my value, but because she felt my absence. And absence has a way of revealing things presence never could. I figured, I replied simply. That caught her off guard. I could hear it in her breathing, in the way she hesitated before speaking again. That's it. What were you expecting? I don't know, something more. I smiled faintly. There used to be more. That landed. I could feel it. Because she went quiet again. And this time, it wasn't confusion. It was realization. You've changed. She said it almost like an accusation. I had to. Why? That question. Simple, but loaded. Because she already knew the answer. She just needed to hear it. For the same reason you went on that date. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. You're still stuck on that, she asked, her tone shifting slightly. There it was again. Minimizing. Trying to shrink what happened into something small. Manageable. Dismissible. No, I said calmly, I moved on because of that. That line. It hit differently. Because there's a difference between holding onto something and letting it change you. And she could hear it. You're acting like I cheated on you. I didn't even hesitate. You didn't need to. That one broke something. I could hear it in the way she exhaled sharply. In the way her voice cracked just slightly when she spoke again. That's not fair. Fair. Another word people use when they don't like the consequences of their own actions. What part? I asked quietly. That I didn't choose you. She said it before I could. And for a moment, everything stopped. Because that was it. The truth. Raw. Unfiltered. Finally spoken out loud. I didn't respond immediately. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I wanted her to sit in that. To hear her own words echo back at her. You're right, I said finally. I didn't. Her voice was softer now. Smaller. And for the first time since this started, she sounded unsure. Not of me, but of herself. And that's okay, I continued. That surprised her. I could tell. You're okay with that? Yes. How? Because she expected anger. She expected pain. She expected me to still be stuck where she left me. But I was. Because I finally understood something, I said. And what's that? That I don't want to be chosen second. Silence. Deep. Uncomfortable. the kind of silence that forces you to confront things you've been avoiding. I didn't choose you second, she said quickly. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I just spoke the truth. You chose to see if there was something better. And there it was. No anger. No accusation. Just clarity. And clarity is impossible to fight. I was confused, she whispered. No, I said gently, you were curious. That difference, it matters. Because confusion seeks answers. Curiosity seeks options. And she had treated me like an option. I didn't think you'd react like this, she admitted. I know. Why not? Because I never did before. That one hurt her. Because it reminded her of something she relied on. My consistency. My patience. My willingness to stay. And now, it was gone. I miss you, she said suddenly. And there it was. The line people use when they start feeling the consequences. But missing someone isn't the same as valuing them. I believe you, I replied. That threw her off again. You do? Yes. Then why does it feel like you don't care? I took a breath. Because this part mattered. I do care. Then why? But I care about myself more. And that was the line. The one that ended everything. The one that broke whatever illusion she still held onto. Because for the first time, she realized she wasn't the center of my world anymore. And that's something people don't know how to handle when they've been used to it. I didn't think you'd ever say that, she whispered. I didn't think I would either. Another silence. But this one felt final. Not heavy. Not painful. Just complete. So that's it, she asked. And this time, there was no frustration. No manipulation. Just acceptance. Yes. No extra words. No explanations. No softening. Just truth. I lost you. It wasn't a question. It was a realization. And I didn't rush to comfort her. Because some truths aren't meant to be softened. Yes, I said quietly. Her breathing slowed. Like she was processing it. Like she was finally understanding the weight of everything that had happened. I didn't think it would end like this. It didn't, I replied. What do you mean? It ended the moment you decided I wasn't enough. That line. That was the one. The one that stayed with her. The one that would replay in her mind long after this call ended. I was wrong, she said. I know. And you're just done. Yes. No hesitation. No doubt. Because this wasn't about punishing her. It was about respecting myself. I wish I could go back. You can't. I'd choose you. I closed my eyes for a second. Not because I believed her, but because I understood something deeper. Maybe, I said. What does that mean? It means you're choosing me now because you lost me. And that was the difference. And she knew it. Because she didn't argue. She couldn't. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know. And I did. I believed she was sorry. But sorry doesn't rebuild what's already been broken. I hope you find what you're looking for, she said. I already did. And what's that? Myself. Silence. Then, a quiet, almost broken voice. Goodbye. I didn't rush it. I didn't drag it out. I just said it back. Goodbye, Emily. The call ended. And just like that, it was over. No dramatic ending. No yelling. No tears. Just two people, standing on opposite sides of a choice that had already been made. I put my phone down and sat there for a moment, letting it all settle. And then, I smiled. Not because I won. Not because she lost. But because I finally understood something most people spend years trying to learn. Sometimes, The strongest thing you can do is walk away from someone you still care about. Because love without respect is just attachment. And I wasn't attached anymore. I was free. And somewhere, in the quiet space she was left in, she finally understood what that one line I sent her meant. Not when I first said it. But now, too late. Completely. And permanently. Broken.